Well, I've always looked at the span of the barn plus the indoor arena and thought to myself, what a great self-exposure, and wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to have solar panels to help us offset electricity costs here at this Miller farm. And I mentioned it to a class that I was lecturing to, an equine class, as part of our greening up lecture, how to help green up, how can the agrarian sector help with greening. And at the end of it, when I mentioned it, a student approached me right after class and said, "Do you know about the Clean Energy Fund here at UVM?" And I said, "No, I don't." And she said, "Well, it's a new fund, and it's generated by the student fees, part of the student fees going towards it. And the committee is made up of students as well as others in the UVM community. And they want to look at projects all around campus that are helping to offset energy use." So she said, "What do you think?" And I said, "That sounds great." And she said, "But the due date is like 10 days from now for the write-up." And I said, "Oh, I'm going to be out of town." But she said, I'm really going to start the initiative. I'll see how far I get with it." And she kept writing to me while I was away. And I kept helping her with some of the wording, but she basically did all the work. And the student was Rachel Caldweller Staub, and she is from the Burlington area. She's a graduate now and working at Shelburne Farms and has been watching this project very, very closely and is very excited. We originally put in our grant for a grant to pick up just the electricity use at the equine facility, but by waiting a couple of years, as the Clean Energy Fund encouraged everyone to do, we've been able to double the number of panels on the facility, so we are actually going to be able to pick up more of the electrical use of the farm. It's not something that we planned to wait 2.5 years, but the fact that we did actually coincides with the 150th year anniversary with the Justin Morrill Land Grant Act. And UVM, the UVM farms, even though it really was kind of in the 1960s is when the current farm was built. It's a very small farm compared to a lot of the other land grant universities. But it also is coming under with the economic pressures of today. They're very costly to maintain and to run. We've been looking at ways of trying to cut costs and trying to maximize opportunities that we have at the farms. We use it for small trial research as well as teaching. I think that the solar panels on the equine roof come in as a great place for people to come and see what can be done on a small farm to help offset some of those expenses, such as the electricity use. An equine arena uses a lot of lights. You usually have an indoor arena, needs to be well lit to be safe, both in the barn area and in the riding area, pretty much year round. Dairy barns use a lot of electricity, milking machines as well as lighting, heat, a lot of different things that can be offset with the solar paneling. So it can be done on a small farm basis. A lot of things that people are looking at, such as digesters and stuff, are really only being done on the large farms. So here's a place to come that's very visible, come and look and see how the solar panels work on a facility that has already been established. Even though it's only 10 years old, it still needed to be kind of retrofitted for that particular roof and that particular setting. The Miller complex, as we see it right now, much of that infrastructure was built in the 60s. So the infrastructure is aged. It's really outlived what its life expectancy was to be. So we've done well with it to take it forward. But we do have a new plan for it. And the equine facility is kind of the flagstone part of that because it is the newest part of the facility. It's 10 years old. So going forward, we we have a plan for updating that whole facility. And with that comes this whole plan for energy efficiency and savings. And we actually have another grant that includes an engineering student that is doing an energy audit of both the Miller Farm and the Hort Center to say, what are we using for electricity, and what are our different needs, and how can we offset this going forward as we build new facilities? How can we build these things in? How can we write grants to help us do that? So this is very, very exciting, because the Equine Center, as I mentioned, it really is kind of the cornerstone going forward, and here it's got new solar panels to take it into the next step.